Welcome back to Hi Tea Honey.
Hi Tea Honey. I'm your host, Nikka.
And I'm her beautiful, lovely, amazing wife, Shantaé, your other host. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Okay, so how's your week going?
Week is going well. I feel a bit busier than usual. But it's cool. I'm handling it well. But yeah, the week is going good. The weather's starting to change. We're in a new season. It's getting cooler. So I'm definitely trying to still wrap my mind and my body around that.
Yeah, the weather is changing. I'm not that thrilled about it.
Yeah. I'm a lot better about it than I once was. But I feel you. Yeah. How are you? How is your week going?
The week has been busy. Today was a light day though. But it's going good. I'm here. I'm happy to be here. I'm alive. This week is good.
What did you see on Safari?
Safari.
It's giving Eliza Thornberry.
Girl.
for anybody that listens to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, thank you so much. And if you would like to see a visual of what I mean, please also tap in with us on YouTube.
Eliza Thornberry. Okay, I do look like the wild thornberries. I do like I'm out there on the safari. Yesterday, I looked like a little farmer. I had on overalls yesterday, but
you've been expressing a lot through your clothes lately.
That is true. But I ain't seen nothing on the safari. Shoot, I went to work. I guess I would say I attended to my flock. I love my clients, but didn't see no wild animals in there.
Okay.
We're gonna move right on into our favorite corner of our show called The Sip.
The Sip.
What are you sipping on?
Ooh, well, I am sipping on some Idris hot chocolate chai from Calabash Tea. It's very good. With a little bit of oat milk and honey.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sipping on this. Music-wise, this week has really been all about LA Summers 2 by G Perico. I've been listening to that a lot. It's been some other things in my rotation. Like I had to go pull out some Roy Ayers, the I'm Your Mind. Well, I mean, that's not the album, but the album that has I'm Your Mind 2 on it. That, I don't know, I've been mixing in a few other things, like some new things. But G Perico. LA Summers 2, that's what I've been listening to the most. Books, I'm listening on audiobook to How the Word is Shared by Clint Smith III, a fellow New Orleanian. But it's super interesting. I'm actually gonna have to listen to it again because I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to finish it. But very good, very insightful. It's talking about, I guess, like just reckoning with the past in different ways and how his research, has taken him to different places, like the Whitney Plantation in Louisiana, like a Confederate cemetery, just like different places to kind of reckon with the history. And I'm really enjoying it. Clint is very poetic, and I love the words. I love to hear him say the words. Like, it's so much life. Like, the way that he describes a simple day, he gives so much beautiful detail that it makes me feel like I'm there.
Ooh, I love a good imagery that makes me feel like I'm there.
Yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. And I'm also listening to The Art of Mindful Living by Thich Nhat Hanh. That's my dude. I, have really gotten a lot from his work, and I just want to share one thing that stood out to me that I heard recently in that particular audio, and it is, my actions are my only possessions. And, I'm still sitting with that. And maybe one day soon I'll be ready to talk about that. But I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay.
How about you, darling?
We got a good old sip going on. I am sipping on water. I'm drinking out of a copper canteen. Been doing a lot of research about health and stuff like that. And I learned that putting your spring water in copper pulls out a lot of impurities, but you also get a lot of benefits from the copper basically like repurifying the water for you. So I'm excited to see how I become purified. I've been reading a lot of stuff. I've been reading a lot of articles lately. Still definitely working on my book. What is it? The Trance of Scarcity. And then I'm reading like a few different, I'm using them as references, but I'm reading them and going to start reading a couple of them. I've been reading this book called Eat Pretty that I use for references with some of the work that I'm doing when it comes to my actual career. And then I'm about to start reading, Think and Eat Smart. And then I'll be reading and using it as a reference, the China Study. So those are the books that I'm reading. Music that I'm listening to, same shit. Still riding out to the Renaissance. But now I have popped a few songs in between those songs. So Larry June new album dropped, and his song I'm Here, I'm Him.
I'm him.
Oh yeah, I'm Him. I play that after I play I'm That Girl. So basically help me balance out the duality of my divine feminine, my divine masculine energy.
Good job, Nikka.
And then his other song on his album that's called Still Booming with my fave, one of my faves, 2 Chainz. I put that in between Church Girl, and I can't think of the other song that comes after Church Girl, but I put that song in between there. So basically Beyonce, Larry June, and then I'll throw in a little bit of Sabrina Claudio because we saw her earlier this month, and I'm still in the days after that concert.
Yes.
It was glorious.
It was beautiful.
I was in love. She sounds just like the record. Very, very good. And other than that, I'm just planning my birthday trip.
Okay, birthday trip.
That's about it. Girl about to be the big 3-3.
Ooh.
3-3. Wow. Came fast. But yeah, that's what I've been sipping on.
All right.
Yeah, our topic of the day is called Moving Beyond Your Conditioning.
Why would one even think or decide to move beyond their conditioning?
Yeah, I feel like I really do feel like if you have the awareness that you are conditioned and you're in situations or in circumstances that don't match you as a person, as you like know how to identify yourself, you'll be like, I got to go. Like, what is this? What is happening? I got to move beyond this because this ain't me. This don't feel good to me. This don't feel safe to me. I don't feel good here. I gotta move. This topic actually came to me because I came across a TikTok video that somebody basically used like the audio of like a brief talk that Steve Harvey was giving, where basically he was talking about how sometimes you have to let go of everything you ever known, basically to go find yourself and give yourself the life that you know you're worthy of. And as I was listening to it, and then I was kind of watching the video with the edit, with the audio, it was a girl who was a stylist. And so I was like, oh, wow, this is like touching me on like a couple of levels, because I am a hairstylist. And, you know, I took a bold step in my life, you know, to move beyond my conditioning, to give myself the life that I felt like I did. Well, felt I know I deserve. So, I think that's why people can move beyond their conditioning. What about you? What you think?
Yeah, I think what you said is spot on, for how I think about it. Like, just realizing that what you have available to you, realizing that what was taught to you, realizing the way that you once operated is not really in alignment with who you know yourself to be, who you're understanding yourself to be, and who you see yourself to be now and moving forward. So like, it is kind of like a software update, you know, because at different phases in your life you need different things. And sometimes when you start moving towards those new things, you can kind of see the conditioning that allowed you to live the way that you once lived.
Yeah. So I'm going to actually read the definition of conditioning, just so that way y'all actually understand like what conditioning is, in case y'all don't know what it means.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Webster's dictionary, because Bay is always on me about what's the source.
What's this, you know, just so people know where the information is coming from. We just sharing the information. We ain't creating it.
Okay, so the definition of conditioning is the process of training or accustoming a person or animal to behave in a certain way or to accept certain circumstances.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Say
No,
what you gotta say.
it wasn't even anything to say, just like a reflection on that, and like how animal was in that, like in the fact that the word accustoming is in there. Like, I don't know, it just like like that don't sound right. They don't feel right to me.
It feel right to me.
No, not to say like the word isn't described well, but just the fact that somebody would condition somebody else or an animal, you know, like it just hit like, what are y'all doing? So yeah, I don't know. That just it don't feel right to me. Like, it don't sit right to me for some reason.
When I read the definition and then actually wrote it out, it made perfect sense to me, because it made me think about what's the book? The Four Agreements. And how before you actually get into the actual Four Agreements, there's like a insert in the beginning where basically he's talking about domestication and like how we are basically, once we are born into the world and we're born into our families and stuff like that, we're basically being domesticated to be, act, present, function in a certain type of way. And when I saw animal, I mean, if you think about humans, we are like a type of animal species, but I thought about like cats and dogs. Like, we domesticate them and we condition them to be inside animals when they clearly are wild animals.
Yeah, that's what the training process is.
Right. So that's why when I saw accustoming, I was just kind of like, oop, Yeah, because you do get, once you've been trained for a while, you do get accustomed to accepting and being in certain types of situations, even if they don't necessarily match you and who you are or what you want to be for like your own personal self. But at a time when you're born and you in a family, you don't really have, autonomy like that. So you kind of become accustomed to the circumstance of what your family has domesticated you or conditioned you to accept or be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess now I have the words to describe. It's not that I'm saying that I feel like that definition is not true or that it is not an accurate description of what conditioning is, but I think because I'm in a place now where I can see my conditioning in a way that I've never seen it before, that's why it don't feel right to me, because it's like, like this whole time I've been going against I've been going against my own programming, like my internal programming, that like instinct that's telling me and like kind of directing me and guiding me. I was doing what I was accustomed to doing. I was doing what I was taught to do.
Yeah. So, has there been situations, circumstances, or teachings that have conditioned you up until this point where now you're able to break away and move beyond?
Yeah, I actually had some experience with this particular thing earlier today. Just thinking about my conditioning and my ideas and thoughts around money and what it means to like spend money and what it means to get myself the things that I want and need. I grew up where money was tight. There never seemed to be enough money.
Money don't grow on trees.
There seemed to be a lot of places where there was lack or insufficiency. And, because people are resourceful, they figure out the best ways to operate within those parameters. Just by the way people shop or how they spend money, where they choose to buy groceries, things like that. Like they do what they need to do to accommodate. Why are you laughing?
I just had a thought.
They do what they need to do to be in alignment with whatever their financial situation is at that time. And sometimes, like in this situation, like I am not in that same financial situation where I have to be such a spendthrift or I have to be so tight with money. But I have to teach myself not to do that. Like I have to teach myself how not to, like, when I go in the store, just immediately go to the clearance section first and like exert a lot of energy, like trying to pick through things. And look, I always got to give the other side of it. I am not saying that I am a person who wants to just go out and like, I'm a stylish being. And, style is more than just, I spent a lot of money on my outfit.
Right.
I'm not really talking about like, I'm not opposed to getting something off of the clearance rack. But the point is,
I'm a clearance girl.
The point is, I don't have to force myself to go there first. Like, that is not my only option. Like, I can go in other parts of the store. I can buy something that's not on sale. I can spend a little bit more on a quality item if it's going to last longer. Just like changing the behavior and the mindset about what it means to spend money, what it means to have money. Am I a saver? Yes. But do I have to be a hoarder? No. Things like that, like the subtle behaviors and like just noticing the ways that when I was raised, I had to operate. I don't always have to operate in all of those ways now. So now it's being conscious of when I am operating in those ways and then choosing to operate in a way that feels more in alignment with where I am now and what I want to feel right now.
That was good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That form of enlightenment. I have been like that. Been conditioned in that way as well. But I would say one of the circumstances that I recognized that I was conditioned to, and I think it was just more subconscious for my family than it was an actual like conscious way of being. It's really just like not moving beyond your 5 mile radius.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I literally come from like a family of dreamers. Everybody has a gift, a talent, and a skill in my family. Like, talented, very talented family. But the doer part never came into fruition. So, like, we're always really good about talking about and discussing and really putting vivid detail into, like, the dreams and the desires, you know, of what was wanted or what was placed on, you know, their heart to do, but it never had any follow through. And sometimes I think like the follow through didn't really happen because of the circumstance that we were living in. So they had to focus on just making sure that we could survive and like we could have a roof over our head. If even I meant barely having a roof over our head, we could have food in our belly. If that even meant like certain people in the house didn't eat, so other people can eat. Like making sure the water was on, even if we didn't have hot water. Like, you know, like just the bare like the basic needs did not allow my family, you know, to really set out on their journey to really achieve the things that were put in them, the gifts and the talents that were put in them to give them the life that they want. And I noticed how that was starting to become me in a lot of ways. And I've always been a big dreamer, always just wanted to see the world, just be this world traveler. But because I was in these circumstances and in these conditions, and just around, you know, just this large amount of people that couldn't move beyond their self, I didn't really see it. I couldn't really carve out a path, you know, for me to be able to figure out how I can do that. It wasn't until, you know, Shantaé came into, you know, my world that I was like, I'm going to have to bust out of here because now I'm really feeling like I'm in a 4x4 prison. Before her, you know, I felt like I'll just make do with what I got, you know, in this circumstance, and I'll just try to make the best of it. But when she came, like, you know, it really sparked something in me, and I was like, nah, I got to go. Like, I got to move beyond this dream, this fire in me. It just feels too big. This, what I want to do, what I want to see, now what I want to be able to offer her, what I want her to see, like, gotta go. Gotta move beyond this. Like, these ways of thinking, these ways of feeling, you know, these ways of not acting, like, gotta let it go.
Yeah. And I really feel like at a certain point, I didn't have a choice. You know, it's like I had to go in the direction of what was calling me, which was me. And it's interesting to be like in a space where you can really understand what your conditioning has been.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting to like, you know, just kind of look at things and notice things and like observe. It's interesting for me to observe myself and the ways that I operate. And then, you know, to think back and be like, well, why do I do that this way? Mm-hmm. And of course, like the immediate answer is because it's always been done that way. Or, well, that's how your mama did it. Or that's how your Mimo did it. Or, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then to have that space to be like, oh, okay. But do I still need to do that?
Or do I want to do it like that anymore?
Have I always had another idea about that and I just decided to do it this way because that's what they said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. Like, just really seeing myself, my life differently.
Yeah. I feel you on that for true. Like, I was calling out to me, like something was like burning inside of me, like to the point that I was literally like breaking down. Mm-hmm. Like, I was literally like phasing away. And like, basically, like, my spirit was like, okay, you either gonna get up and get to moving with audacity and aggression to get up out of this, or you gonna die here. And I felt like I was dying. Like, I literally felt like I was losing my breath. I felt like I was literally losing my mind. I was losing my spark. And I don't know, like, something was like, you come. And I just had to get up and I moved. And like, I came up with my little game plan. I put my focus into my game plan. And a year after, I gave myself 1 year. And I got the fuck. And I was gone and been gone ever since.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about what it was like when you first made that big change. You know, because moving away from your home state, you know, that is a significant change. So I'm sure that may have presented you with some significant feelings. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what did that feel like to you? And how did you deal with those feelings?
I actually felt a couple of different ways. I felt very brave. I felt excited, but I also felt guilty. Just because, you know, I love everything about my family. You know, I didn't love, you know, a lot of the things that were going on, but like just the love that we have for each other, the way we there for each other, the way we show up for each other, you know, like, that made me feel guilty about leaving, you know, because I was basically branching off our tree to, you know, grow and be in another way, you know, like, I was gonna go plant my own tree and create my own life and, you know, stuff like that. So the guilt kind of got to me for a while, but honestly, my life felt more important to me to save my own life. And I needed to save my own life because I could see, I felt how I was literally crumbling. And the thing that helped me move forward was just choosing focus. Like, literally, like, when I say tunnel vision, I had the most intense tunnel vision as Phil do.
No, it was worse, but it was worse back then.
I don't see shit. I'm just focused on whatever it is I'm trying to get or become or have. Like, that's it. And so that felt more important to me. And I mean, I'm a Sagittarius, so just adventure and experience and shooting for the stars, that's me. and bitch, I had to go. And I knew that I was gonna miss my family. But I was willing to miss them, and I still do miss them, but I feel like my life is more important.
Yeah. I would definitely just hit you with the ditto, because I understand exactly what you mean. That's very, very similar to how I have felt. You know, at the time that I moved away from, you know, my family unit for college. And I moved states away. And nobody could understand why I was going so far away. Like, oh, you're not going to be scared. Like, you're going all the way up there by yourself. It's cold, you know, all of that. and
it do be cold.
You know, I was scared. Yeah, I was unsure. I was like, I had anxiety. I'm like, I don't know. This is my first time living by myself. Like, but I knew I wanted to do it. And I knew I had to do it. And like, in hindsight now, all of these years later, I'm understanding I had to do it a little bit differently than I was at the time. But I don't know. I'm just happy that I always listened to myself. And I think me doing that, even though, you know, at first it felt a little bit hard. It felt a little bit awkward, especially because, you know, I have found myself in situations where the way that I thought about something wasn't the way that somebody else thought about something. And the way that I personally was conditioned, I was conditioned to defer to the other voice always. Like, to question myself and to defer. Unless it was an extreme situation.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was something about just sticking with it and like learning how to hear myself. And, the more that I held on to that, the more that I held on to myself, I was able to break away from my conditioning and be in a place where I am now, where I'm still, learning to understand myself, learning to navigate life. But I do feel more sure. Like, I know, and I'm very proud of the decisions that I've made so far.
Yeah, good. That's good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Proud of the decisions you have made thus far.
Thank you.
Yeah. Conditioning, some people beat it out and some people get submerged in it and they can't find their way out. I'm proud, that we were able to find our way out of, our conditioning. And I mean, there's still plenty of things, that I'm learning about myself in ways that I've been conditioned and that I'm still working through. So I'm not fixed. I am still in the process of moving beyond my conditioning.
Yeah.
But those examples that we use were some of the more bolder ones that really, really helped us get out of the actual circumstance of the conditioning, so then we could start doing the other work around the conditioning to allow us to be able to create the lives that we wanted for ourselves individually, but now the lives that we are building together. As a married couple, as friends, now business partners, mothers, sisters. And then we could reach back too and share our insights with our loved ones and with our friends and stuff like that. And you could kind of see where, they kind of shaping up and things are moving in them, to give themselves something different. So I think that that's really dope too. Sometimes you really do have to be the pioneer.
That's the word that just came. Well, the word that just came to mind was trailblazer. And, my thought was, I've never, before this kind of point in my life, ever thought of myself as a trailblazer. But now I'm understanding that that's exactly what I am. Like, I am one of the ones, who gotta go look. Like, all right, y'all too scared. I'll go peep. Because, bitch, I'm not finna sit in this dark-ass basement. So we need to figure out something. Like, what is the plan?
Where's the light? Because I know there's light around.
It's a window, bitch. The wind blowing north. Like, I need to figure something out. Because I can't sit in this motherfucker no more. Like, it's stressing me out. My anxiety is bad. I know.
don't feel safe. I don't feel cared for.
And that's what it is. Like, not feeling safe. And it's like, nah, I gotta be safe. Because I know that I deserve to be safe. And I know that that's possible for me. So if I, and the thing about being a trailblazer is it's for you and, others get to benefit from it. But it's like, I would do it before. I guess when I thought about it, I did think of a trailblazer as somebody, who does it for other people. But I think I'm understanding it now differently about like how much it really is for you.
Girl, it was for me.
And it's really just the example that others get to benefit from. And you have to, do the stuff. Like, you have to do the stuff.
Yeah, you have to go in and you have to move, number one. You have to be ready. You have to trust yourself enough and have enough faith to step out beyond the circumstance. But then you really got to keep that up. And you got to, like, trust that the soul that you hear or the talk that you're hearing within yourself knows where they sending you. Because when you real conditioned, lack of a better term, brainwashed, when you real, like, conditioned and programmed to be a certain type of way and to accept a certain type of thing, anything outside of that, look wrong, feel wrong, is wrong. And that's not necessarily true. The only truth that you know is the truth that you've been taught. So being curious enough to go see what else is available helps you understand that there are different levels of truth, different types of truth that are out there that are for you to heal you, elevate you, and inspire you, but then it will inspire others along the way.
Yeah. Here's what I've noticed about conditioning. I've noticed that with conditioning, sometimes, most of the times, maybe all of the times, fear is involved in some type of way.
Oh, yeah.
Fear as the thing to keep you that way. I'm just understanding life to be more flexible and more open than I've ever understood it to be. And when I think about why I maybe have never thought about things that way before, or why, I was maybe a little bit more reserved or closed off in the past, it's because I was afraid. I was afraid I was going to do something wrong. I was afraid I was going to offend somebody. I was afraid I was going to mess something up. And, in that fear, I just felt all of that friction of like, just discomfort. Like, this is so uncomfortable. And that is what led me to like start to seek and explore and like kind of lean more into my trailblazing, even though at the time I didn't really understand that that's what I was doing.
Okay, because it's not until you step out there that you really start to get the language about what you really out here doing, or what you're called to do. That's dope. Thank you for sharing that. Because fear is, I really do think that is the thing that causes us as people to condition ourselves and those who we love in certain type of ways that keep us what we perceive to be safe. And sometimes it ain't really safety. Sometimes it's just survival.
Sometimes it's just familiarity. Like, it's something that I'm familiar with, so I can tolerate that because I have some idea of what to expect. And if it's something that I don't expect or anticipate, if I've never been open about anything, if I've always been very closed off, then, my nervous system is going to react to that. I'm probably going to have an anxiety attack. I'm going to be shook. Like, I'm like, what is going on? And I think it's just that fear of like feeling like, okay, this is wrong. But there is a way, I think, to kind of check in to see where that voice is coming from, if it's coming from head or heart. And like, I think
shit, head, heart, or soul.
Head, heart, soul. It's just like, what is this? Like, is this me? Is this my fear? Am I saying this because I'm afraid? Like, digging in with yourself, like really getting clear about who you are, what you think, and why you make the choices you make. And I think some of us are so accustomed to kind of making choices on autopilot that, because every day we are presented with hundreds of opportunities to learn something. And, if we paying attention, we could catch it. But if we are, clouded and distracted and in pain or whatever, like we miss it. It's so easy to miss.
Yeah.
That's why things like meditation are helpful, to like help you get quiet and be still so you can really learn to hear and learn to trust yourself.
Yeah, and assess the things that are actually going on in you and through you. Because we're all energy. And the energy is always moving. So we got a couple of tips. We can't leave y'all without no tips. So we have 5 steps to help you move forward beyond your conditioning, or that could support you as you recognize what your conditioning is and then you want to move forward. So the first one is accurately identifying what the problem is. I was able to identify what the problem was in my life and how I was being conditioned. And then I was like, yeah, no.
How did you identify it?
Actually, mine came to me in a dream. I was in a dream and I was in a jail cell.
Wow. But you are a dreamer.
Mm-hmm. I was in a jail cell. And I know I didn't want to be in a jail cell. So I was like, literally, like, first of all, I ain't really much in a jail cell. I was tearing that goddamn jail cell up trying to find the keys. And I realized that I was the key.
Oh, come on then, Iris. Can you run that back?
I was the key.
And then I realized I was the key. I like that.
Yeah.
For me, it was just recognizing myself to be in a constant state of turmoil, stress, anxiety, depression, just a lot of heavy emotions and feelings and thoughts, all to, just let me know, like, hey, we are uncomfortable. Like, whatever this is, if it worked at one time, baby, it ain't working now. Like,
this can no longer be.
There'll never be. Like, nah, you gotta. That's what it was for me. Like, just realizing that I was unhappy, that I was experiencing a lot of pain in a lot of different areas, and that I didn't want to feel that anymore. Mm-hmm. And I, felt like I didn't have to feel like that, and I didn't deserve to feel like that. So that's what it was for me. Like, just feeling bad and deciding I didn't want to feel bad no more.
Yeah. That's a good identifier. Step 2 is thinking about how you are thinking. So what I was able to recognize from the dream that I had, because see, mine come through dreams. This is how I know if I'm in alignment or I ain't in alignment. My spirit realm is the realm that gives me the understanding. When I first recognized that I was actually in the jail cell, I was just standing there holding to the bars, just looking around. Like, well, shit, I guess I deserve to be here. But then, like, I don't know, like, I started feeling uncomfortable, like, oh, hell no, I don't want to fucking be in here. It's dark, it's gloomy, it's cold, bitch. I hear water leaking. I don't want to be in this dark-ass place. Like, I don't want to be here. So me thinking about how I was thinking, like, a moment prior to me thinking that I didn't want to be here, I thought, like, well, I guess that's how it's got to be. So when you bring that back over into in my awakening, my awake life where I'm actually in the world, I was like, all right, Nikka. So you recognize that this shit is not for you. You don't want to be in this. How do you need to be thinking about this situation and how you could create a whole new situation for you that don't even put you back in a situation like this again? Literally had to assess the way that I was thinking. I went and built me a playlist. I got me a fucking journal. I built me out a fucking plan for me and my daughter and drove that motherfucker to no end. I literally changed the way I thought, assessed the way I thought about different things. And I was still limited in my thinking along the way, but I could see where I was improving my thinking along the way as well. That I had to just keep changing it. When it wasn't working no more, I was like, all right, Nikka, this making you feel like back there, what we need to do, how we need to shift this, and then I will make a shift. And then I would see how that shift that I was making would move me forward instead of making me feel like I was going backwards. And not because I never went backwards or took 10 steps back, because I have. But each time I took that 10 steps back, I figured out how to take 50 steps forward.
2 things. One, I'm loving that the acknowledgement of taking the steps back, because it just made me think about nature, the moon and the stars, the planets in retrograde when they gotta go back, but then when they come back around, they going direct for longer than they are in retrograde period. Mm-hmm. And like, we need both. Like, we need to be able to progress and make progress. And, sometimes we do need opportunities to reflect back on where we've been. Sometimes we do re-encounter similar situations to give us the opportunity to make a different choice or to approach it in a different way. So that's very, 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 very important. And I know I said that I had 2 things, but I forgot the other thing. So go ahead.
Okay. Number 3 is planning your shift. All mine was happening simultaneously. Like mine was happening rapidly. I'm a fast thinker. Like my mind move very quickly, and I'm naturally a problem solver. I don't know if that's because I'm the oldest. Like I really don't know what it is. I'm a girl. I really don't know what it is. I'm a problem solver. So I'm like, all right, what the fuck do I need to be doing to get me up out of this shit? Because I don't want to be here no motherfucking more. Like, I don't want to feel like this no more. I don't want my child to have these experiences. I don't even want my child to even remember that there was a time when. I don't even want that to be a memory impression of her. So what do me as her parent, her guardian, right now in this moment, what do I need to be doing to make sure that these type of impressions don't even be imposed on my kids' mind?
Yeah.
You made shifts?
Well, yes, absolutely have made shifts. And I'm making shifts every day. And I think what feels really good to me right now is the fact that I can see the shifts. I can celebrate the shifts. But I'm noticing that I'm not afraid of the shifts anymore. And it hit me the other day as to why I opposed change so much. Like there was a period of my life where I hated change. Like I hated the idea of change. I hated my idea of change because things were always changing around me. But because, I grew up living a life where things for a period of time seemed to change so quickly.
Oh, girl.
And so drastically and so life-shatteringly. Like I was just like, okay.
Life-altering.
I really need something that feels a little bit more stable because
I need stability.
I'm teeter-tottering right now and I hate that. And it just, to me, I associated change with like somebody snatching a rug underneath like this beautiful, snatching a blanket underneath this beautiful picnic I just laid out. Like, I could never allow myself to get too comfortable. Like I could never allow myself to like be too into anything because I was so afraid of change. And it was because things happened abruptly. Like, major hurricane, city underwater, daddy died 3 months after that, moving around with the 3 different high schools in 9th grade alone. Like just weird things, and I'm like,
unsettling.
I don't like this. And it was because of the way I thought about change. I always thought change was negative. Nobody really ever explained some of the changes to me or like gave me any support. It was just like,
come on, we leave.
This thing is different now. I mean, I ain't really gonna tell you much about it, just figure it out as you go along.
Here's what we're doing.
And that's very unsettling. That has for me been very unsettling in my nervous system. So like I can sense now the healing that has happened in that area, and I can see change. I can anticipate change. I can create change, and I have a much, much, much better relationship with it.
Good. That's some good stuff. I can relate to that, but I'm not gonna dive in. We're gonna move on to our next point, which is point 4, and it's called take the risk. Your glory is waiting on you, honey.
We waiting on you, honey.
Your glory is waiting on you. Because it's already here. It's waiting on you to take the risk. You got to risk it all to have the life that you want to be able to have. And the things that I was willing to risk is my core foundation to go literally build me a new one out of scratch. Or from scratch.
And sometimes that is necessary. And I think sometimes too, especially like in a case of like moving away from either physically or like relationally, moving away from family members or maybe like old friends. Like I think sometimes it is important to know that you now have abundance in a sense. Like you have this new thing that you built, and you working on that and you enjoying it, and when you need to experience something else, there is a friend, there is a family member like that you built something with before, and like you can go back and enjoy that too. And then when you're ready to come back over here and start building some more, you can do that too. Like,
yeah, taking a risk, you can, and you get to enjoy both worlds. You get to continue to build, what you're creating for yourself in this new life, but also you get to go back and you get to enjoy what was, because what was is still there. Of course, if it's healthy.
Health only.
Health. If it's healthy. If it's unhealthy, if it's damaging, if it is trauma-filled, debilitating to the soul, spirit, and nervous system and the mind, then may you find all you need in your new life. Seriously. Because I would never encourage people to go back. That's risky.
What I just want to say about that quickly is I think that is a part of a lot of people's conditioning, like believing that because someone is a family member or because someone is whatever title or role to you, that you have to remain connected to them no matter what. And I myself like had to change my ideas around what it meant to be connected to people, and realize that for me the priority is health in the connection, not anything else, not length of time, not relationship status or title or role, but it's like, is it healthy? Do I enjoy this? Like, that is an example of a thought or an idea that I once had that I shifted to accommodate who I am now.
Yeah. That's a good extra look. That was a bonus for y'all. Okay. And then our last and final one is number 5. And that one is trust yourself without a shadow of a doubt. Trusting yourself is the greatest gift you could give to yourself. Even if you don't even know where she is sending you. One thing I know about spirit is spirit will not lead you astray. You gonna have to trust yourself even when you cannot see the road. You gonna have to trust yourself when you're in the middle of the woods. You gonna have to trust yourself when it's dark and lonely. You have to trust yourself when it's stormy and you just can't see the light and you can't find the light. You gonna have to trust yourself through all of those different circumstances, because you always gonna be able to get back to the light, and you will always be able to come back home to yourself and what is safe for you and what is good for you and what is good for those that are directly connected to you that you are responsible for.
Absolutely. I think that's what it's leading you to. That instinct, that still quiet voice, that thing that we are asking you to trust. That's you leading you back to you. That's you leading you to your happiness. That's you leading you to whatever you desire.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely helpful to be in tune.
Yeah, because we do. We put a lot of trust in a lot of things outside of ourselves, and sometimes the things outside of ourselves don't even meet the needs that we are for our own personal self, what we need. Sometimes we just accept stuff, and that is a form of conditioning. Mm-hmm. When you just kind of accept what things outside of you are just giving you, and you put more trust and more faith in things outside of you. But trusting yourself, like when your spirit speak to you or when your heart speak to you and be like, we moving this way. And you be like, wait a minute, what's over there? Just go that way, because the soul knows, the spirit knows, the heart knows, and it's going to lead you to where you won't end up. And that is something that I have gotten way better at doing. But when I first took that risk, I made that plan, I identified the problem, I made that thinking shift, and then I made that actual shift and took that risk. I didn't fully trust myself, but I knew I had to go. And my spirit was like, we're going here. This is the plan, and this is what we're doing, and this is where we're going. And here I am, years later, really, really able to stand in my self-trust and knowing that my spirit did not lead me astray.
Yeah. Think about where you are placing your authority. Like, think about the areas in your life where you give somebody else like a higher position or a higher ranking than you give yourself. Let me just share a few of the examples that I noticed in my own life recently, just to like help give you an idea of like places where you could look in your own life to see like, okay, am I giving my power over to somebody else because of how I've been conditioned? So like me, health, medical system, like what it means to navigate health issues and challenges in the body. You know, one would think like, doctor, let me go. And I don't know. I'm not going to go. This really could be its own episode, and I think it probably will be. But, you know, I just recognized that I was giving my authority and my power over to a doctor because I felt like they had more wisdom than I did about my own body. And one of the ways that I knew I needed to like shift my thinking in that area is because at a certain point they wouldn't listen. Or like when I would say or detail my experience, you know, they would try to group me in with like, oh, well, that doesn't happen for most people, so it can't be happening to you or something like that. And I was just like, okay, like clearly what I'm feeling is real. Clearly there's some disconnect. So that was my invitation to like rethink health and wellness and, you know, what it means to be autonomous and like to notice ways that I'm giving my power or authority over to somebody else because I feel like they can do something for me that I can't do for myself, or that I put it all on another, or like because I'm relying on another, you know, I am not doing everything that I can on my end, you know, to do something. It's like, well, you know, you're a professional. I'm coming to you for the answers, as if like, you know, I am not also a wise person, as if I am not the one that's, you know, in my body feeling these things. Like my voice, my thoughts, my experience is more valuable, honestly, than anything you could say to me as the so-called professional. So I'm not going too deep into that right now. We will definitely circle back on that again, but I'm just trying to give like some examples like to help make this more actionable for people and to, you know, get y'all wheels turning to help give you something to think about.
Yeah, as y'all move beyond y'all conditioning and step into y'all new ways of being for y'all life, because it's your life that matters the most. Your life. And you want to be able to look back over your life and be proud, you know, of what you've been able to do and the chains, so the generational curses, you know, that you were able to break in order to set yourself free and give you the liberation, the autonomy, and the authority over your life. That is what we want for everybody. That is what we want for ourselves. That is what we've been able to create for ourselves and still striving to create in even higher ways for ourselves. And we want to be around people and commune with people and work with people that are doing the same thing. And then we be able to touch others who want the same thing. They just don't know how to do it yet.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with help. Please receive all of the help that is appropriate and available to you. Just don't let that help be the reason why you don't do your part. You know, don't lean so heavy on that help that you falling behind. Always do your part.
Okay, y'all. That's it. Moving beyond your conditioning. Y'all got this. We got this. Let us know what y'all think, how y'all feel, where y'all are at in y'all process. If there are any more, you know, key takeaways that y'all may be practicing or know about, please share that with us in the comments below. We'd love to hear it. And until next time, y'all, be well,
Be true.
be you.
Be